Hi everyone, welcome back to BS Rambles, and the point of today's video is going to be to discuss the implications of the 2019 gameplay updates. Now, I want to preface this by saying when you have a game like Heroes of the Storm that's been established for years now and has a certain way that the game works, when they come in and they make large sweeping changes like they're about to with the 2019 gameplay updates, it's going to be completely a point of your own opinion on whether or not these are positive changes for the game. In my opinion, I think that they are positive changes. I think that Heroes of the Storm has identified its core competency, which is being a fun hero brawler based on team fighting and high action, and they've kind of moved away from the areas that they're just not competing well enough in, which is really the hardcore MOBA aspect. And what I mean by hardcore MOBA, I think of games like League of Legends and Dota more about creating power differentials between yourself and the enemy players in the game, as opposed to actually the team fighting action. Now, you can argue that to any extent, but that's just the way that I see it. Now, in Heroes of the Storm, the game is a lot less about creating power differentials through doing things like farming creep or getting pick kills here and there, and it's a lot more about team-based fighting. The best way that Heroes of the Storm is played is when you have 5-on-5 team fights that are happening fairly between two teams that are relatively evenly matched. Now, there is of course something to be said for creating slight power differentials based on superior gameplay throughout the game, and maybe all the efforts that you put in from minutes 1 to 10 shouldn't be discounted in minutes 10 to 20 if the enemy team starts taking over at that point. But I think that now Heroes of the Storm is striking a much better balance between those two that is going to result in a much more high action type of gameplay that is going to stop the dreaded snowball effect, which I think is a direct quote from the gameplay update section. Because let's face it, playing from behind just isn't that fun. In Heroes of the Storm, the best way to play from behind is to undercommit to things like objectives and enemy pushes to take advantage of fighting under towers, and have your remaining players spread to lanes and soak. And that's just not the most fun way to play Heroes of the Storm. The most fun way to play is when there's 5-on-5 team fighting all the time. Now, with that being said, you can probably tell that I'm a very team fight oriented person. I like those high action engagements, but there's another side of this game, and that is macro map control. And that side of the game needs to be honored and cherished as well, because that's the strategy aspect that gives the game so much depth. And the gameplay update changes are going to do a great job of making that macro map control aspect of the game more fun as well. And they're doing this by, as I mentioned earlier, moving away from the creation of power differentials and moving more into strategy. Previously, I was talking about how they're moving more into teamfight fairness, which they still are, but also macro strategy is going to be in a much more critical place than it ever has been before. Now, I just want to quickly go over the actual points of changes that I'm discussing here, just so you have a bit more context. The first thing that they've done is they've removed all experience earned from destroying a fort or a keep. Instead, you'll be rewarded with catapults. For a fort, you'll get one every 3 waves, and the keep will be the exact same. You get one in every single one. So it's just creating lane pressure. Now, they're also decreasing experience earned from destroying towers by 50%, so much less of early game EXP swings from lane dominance. Passive experience gain got increased by 15%, which is basically a closet nerf to all other sources of EXP, because when you're getting more passive experience gained, it means that experience gained from other places is worth a little bit less. They're also increasing experience gained by defending mercenaries by 100%. That means that capturing mercenary camps is no longer a way of getting increased experience and a power differential on the enemy team. It's going to be a wash as far as the experience advantage that you gain. Any merc camp that you send down a lane, the enemy team should soak the experience back from. Now, when you break it down to 4 points like that, it really doesn't sound like it's going to be that huge of a difference, and it's not that much of an overhaul, but the reality is that it really is. And it's going to make Heroes of the Storm a lot more fun to play. The strategy is going to be deeper, the teamfight aspect is going to be more consistently fun, and overall I think that this is going to result in a gain in popularity from Heroes of the Storm as it finds its identity away from other MOBAs like League of Legends and Dota. Heroes of the Storm is more fun than those games because there's way more action, it's way more intense, and the power differential aspect of those games makes them not fun a lot of the time, and Heroes of the Storm has moved away from that a little bit. And now with the 2019 update, they're moving away from that a whole lot more. So to summarize the changes, it's basically more of the fun and less of the not fun. not fun being uncompetitive games, and fun being things like deep strategy and epic team fights that make Heroes of the Storm the really fun game that it is. Honestly, the only downside that I can think of to all of this, and it is kind of a significant downside, and it's that when a game is awaiting an overhaul like this, it kind of makes it feel like the current iteration of the game is almost like it's in an alpha or something. Like, with such improvements coming so shortly down the line, playing Heroes of the Storm right now doesn't really feel like you're playing Heroes of the Storm. It feels like you're playing an old version of the game, and obviously Blizzard shares that sentiment, otherwise these changes wouldn't be rolling out right away. Now, there are some other changes coming in 2019 with the update patch, but I think for the most part these are going to be the main things that are going to be the game changers in Heroes of the Storm, and that is what I wanted to focus on for this video. So let me know what your guys' opinions are in the comment section below. I would love to hear them. I want to know what the discussion is, what other people's impressions are on this change, but I honestly do think that it's tough to hate on these updates. I think that they're pretty awesome. If you guys do enjoy my videos, please like, comment, subscribe, as you always are so nicely doing. And until next time, guys, thanks very much for watching. Bye.